2 or 3, I don't know. This is going to be the take. Art World 101, the fun of the fair. Have I told you the one where I call Kanye West Kayne to his face at an art fair? Well, bear with me. It's a true story. I did it. You see, all sorts of slightly odd things, they can happen at art fairs because, frankly, they can be a bit, well, odd. The big art fairs, Frieze, Basel, Armory, they aspire to be more like Fashion Week than your average trade show. You know, they're part of the cultural calendar. They're cool. In fact, maybe that's why Kanye West was there in the first place, to bolster his fashion credentials. But in fact, with these cavernous halls of identikit booths and, well, a complete lack of atmosphere, the art fair really isn't all that glamorous. They're basically global warehouses, and like any other trade fair, companies, in this case, the gallery, they're there to sell. And you know what? That's okay. In that perennial, awkward dance of artistic values and barefaced commerce that defines the art world, the art fair is where we fess up and we make like any other business in the world. We welcome weekend buyers looking to match their artwork to their sofas. The looky-loos are welcome. They aren't buying, but they're there for the scene, and they help create the whole vibe. We're ready to welcome the collectors, both those like hardcore blue chip seasoned people who come to shop, as well as the folks who are basically keeping the galleries going with an annual purchase of 10 to 20K a year. The art fair really is for just about everybody. Just don't bet on the dealers being nice to you unless they think you've got a little money to spend. Now, how about a really quick history lesson? The art fair as we know it, it has a pretty long history of bringing that tippy top of the usually scattered art world together under one roof. Art Basel, the biggest fair of them all, that was founded by 3 Swiss gallerists in the 1970s for exactly that reason. Their vision was to bring together the world's most distinguished galleries, collectors, curators, and art enthusiasts. And it worked. Getting all these folks in one place, it made selling easier and networking a lot more fun. In the years that followed, Art Basel grew and evolved, expanding its reach way beyond a sleepy town in Switzerland to other parts of Europe, and then all the way to the palm-lined glitzy shores of Miami Beach. Going truly global, this was a big moment for the art fairs. It meant that some other people caught wind of the fact that this fair business was going to be good business. Enter Frieze, which started 20 years ago here in London by the founders of the art magazine of the same name. And Frieze, like Basel, was quick to expand. Frieze New York started in 2012. Then came Frieze Masters, which concentrated on art from ancient times to modern. And then Frieze LA opens on the old Paramount Pictures studio lots. So what's clear here is that being in the business of making art fairs themselves is a good business to be in. Frieze, in fact, sold to an events company a couple years back for an undisclosed amount. You can bet it had a lot of zeros. But what about the galleries? Are art fairs any good for them? I think it's debatable. I mean, I've shown it Frieze, Frieze Masters, Nada, Aqua Art Miami, and a couple others. Most times, the gallery, it's just about broken even. Why? Well, costs are high. It's a trade fair, after all. You're paying top dollar to be there. Hell, I've even exhibited at the Affordable Art Fair. And though the art might be more affordable, the booth's still going to set you back 10K. So you really, really have to bring your A game. In fact, there's a well-known gallery practice where gallerists save works throughout the year to bring their best work to the fair. The big kid galleries, like Gagosian, they even pre-sell their booths. I mean, this year at Frieze, they had something like 12 new Damien Hirst paintings, each priced just under $1 million. Yet, none were available for sale. No, really, that's right. They were all sold before the fair even opened. I can't be sure, but I think what they're trying to do is create a sense of scarcity. Imagine a client walking into the booth. They get told none of the works are available after being told the price. Immediately, the client feels like they've missed out. In reality, they haven't. You want a Damien Hirst blossom? You can bet your bottom dollar I can get you one. You just have to pony up. He makes hundreds of these things. Does anyone feel like maybe art fairs should regulate this practice? I mean, collectors race to private views to buy. It must suck to show up during the VIP session and find out you have missed the boat. It just doesn't feel honest. It kind of feels like a play. And nobody likes to be played, do we? Dog, not helpful. Olive. So then, what's the whole point of the art fair? To my mind, it's to be seen and do a whole bunch of seeing. For me, that's definitely been the upside. I've met new collectors, discovered artists, and on occasion met other folks in the industry who've become great friends. You know who you are. Sometimes, though, those initial introductions, they don't go to plan, which brings me back finally, to Kayne West. This is back in 2007. Art Basel, Miami. I'm on the stand. I'm working for James Harris Gallery. At one point, Jim was off somewhere else, and a group of seriously stylish and good-looking guys appear asking about an artist's drawings. I gave them the spiel. I asked them if they want me to send them details on the work. And one of them looks at me, dead in the eyes, slightly surprised, and then says, "Yeah, sure. Love to." I smile back. I thrust my notepad into his hand saying, "Leave your email here," which he did with a knowing smile. Thinking nothing of it, completely unaware of who I was speaking to, I thanked him. I looked down at my notebook and say, "Nice to meet you, Kayne." The group left the booth, and I thought nothing of it except for a potential sale until Jim returned, as he always did, scans the potential sales list and screams, "Kanye was here? Kayne West?" As you can imagine, I near died. Thankfully, Kayne didn't hold it against us, and he bought the work, and I didn't get fired. So the point is, art fairs are great. You never know who's going to walk into your booth, celebrities, curators, artists, you name it. Just try and pronounce their names correctly. And if you aren't there to sell or even buy, come for all the fun of the fair. Treat it like the biggest gallery in town, maybe even the world. I'm sure you'll discover something that excites you.